Hey folks, welcome back to Just the Tip, our new series on practice, tips, tricks, and troubleshooting. In these short videos, I'll be discussing some of the perennial problems I see in the longsword community and share my ideas on how to fix them. Today's topic is on cycling through in cuts, but as this is only the second episode in this series, I also want to take this opportunity to define a few terms that you'll undoubtedly hear me use again and again in subsequent episodes, including following through and transitioning. Regardless of the system you study, for longsword the main lineages being those of Lichtenauer, Meyer, and Fiore, and I imagine this is probably true of any sword art in general, every strike, every hewing blow, has defined starting positions and defined finishing positions. Yes, there may be numerous variants per strike. For example, an Oberhau can begin at Tag and end at Longart, or begin at Tag and end in Wechselhut or Nebenhut. It can be done from Ox too, why not? Similarly, a Fendente can be done from Posta di Dana to Posta Longa, or from Coda Longa through to Denti di Gingaro. My point is, a strike is defined primarily by its trajectory, and of course that's correlated with its intended targeting, despite having multiple possible prescribed origins and termini. So hopefully we're in agreement that most strikes can be performed from most guards, or huten, or poste, etc. Naturally, however, some can be performed in a relatively shorter amount of time, traveling a shorter distance, while others take relatively more time to cover a greater distance. Notice I said time, not speed. Follow-through is about maintaining requisite speed throughout the arc, from start to finish, neither struggling to accelerate from the start, nor slowing down prematurely. In a martial context, you simply can't afford to waste time, telegraphing your intentions accidentally, or just smacking ineffectually into the target. Remember this concept, as I'll be cycling back to it soon. Logically, some strikes take less time, some take more. Some strikes are simpler than others, being performed as an isolated action, while some are more complex, involving a transition, either before the target is engaged, or after, or both. By transition, I mean any time the sword is rotated along one axis or another, intentionally, into or away from the cutting plane, usually, hopefully, in an effort to link otherwise isolated actions. The name of the game here, of course, is efficiency, and losing neither control of the sword nor speed during that transition, especially as you're moving the sword around yourself. Also, remember that it's very dangerous to transition too soon before the initial strike is complete. Cycling through is a subcategory of these transitional actions, where the strike is intended to begin and end in the same spot, hence the idea of cyclical motion. For example, an Oberhau that begins at Tag and ends at Tag. There's two common issues with cycling through as a default action for practitioners. Situation 1, to give folks the benefit of the doubt, is that it's being done intentionally, the idea being that a redoubled attack is being primed after the initial one. Consider, though, that the time and space dedicated to the offensive portion of the strike is equal to or even less than the time and space dedicated to the transitional portion. For this reason, these cyclical actions are the most difficult to do and the most dangerous. One must follow through. And remember, this means maintaining requisite speed from origin to terminus, even if those are the exact same spot relative to your body. Anything less than this is not really a transition, just a cut followed by a separate action to recover. Keep in mind, this is as much about psychology as physics. If the opponent sees a weakness, like an obvious deceleration, an awkward hitch in the motions, whatever, it's a perfect time for them to attack. In Lichtenauer terminology, this is an opportunity for Nachreisen. Situation 2 is that it's being done unintentionally because of issues of power generation and spongy brakes when it comes to halting the sword after the target has been engaged. This is also dangerous, of course, as it indicates a host of body mechanical tweaks that need to be made, and stay tuned for more on that in future videos. So the main point I'm trying to make here in all of this, in regards to cycling through, cyclical transitions, or however you want to consider them, is this. Unless you are very confident in your transitions, and full disclosure, I'm not too happy with mine these days, I would focus instead on cultivating cuts in their more common default variants. Focus on both rapid acceleration from the origin and following through to a clean, crisp terminus. From these foundations can be built more advanced actions like chaining together multiple strikes, without them losing their mechanical efficacy or psychological weight. So I hope this gives you some new ideas to work on. Until next time, practice well. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. See you there.